to be cut on the mill, but today's video is really going to be about these few tools right here. So I got to get this out the way. We're going to go down on some of the trails here, and we're going to use the new battery powered trim saw. Now this is kind of neat. It's not made by Dewalt. It looks like Dewalt, but it's not. And I will leave a link to it in there. And it's nice because it has this. You put the battery there, okay, and you can put that there. And then these are telescoping, so they go here, and you can go there. It's supposed to be up to like 14 foot and something. So yeah, it's going to be nice. And so we'll take that out in the woods and we'll see how it does down on the trails. I need to clean up some of the trails. So what's nice too is this, you can turn this piece down here depending on what you have on there. And you can also put your blower up here. For some reason you need to blow something up high, you can put, they have a hedge trimmer unit and they have a snipper unit. So we're going to take this down in the woods here today. We're going to bring the Dewalt 20-inch flex volt into the woods, and we're going to do a little cutting with that. And then on my camera stuff, my chest mount, so we can get you guys some good views. Got a couple batteries, so we're going to take this down there. But let's cut this up real quick here. All right, let's get the mill back. Well, we cut 3 or 4 cookies off of this nice looking maple piece. Let's see what size cookies we're going to get this morning out of this. I got a couple more we're going to cut off of in another video. But since we're here, about 18.5. It's oblong, you can see it. And I like it because it has this little oblong here. It'll be interesting because there's a lot of color in here. Now once you sand it, you know, the saw blade's making it a little rough. But actually that's not bad. I have the 9-degree blade on the sawmill. So let's get over here, get this thing spired up, bring it on back here. Gotta raise it up. I did screw that backboard on. It had come loose. I had a cookie. Got a little carried away. It was a little wobbly on there and broke that piece off, so I replaced it. But I'm actually going to cut it down so I can go down a little further. That really determines the height is the back clamp. But let's see, I'm trying to remember where I was. It's always like, let's go up over it here. I think it was at 12. It was an even number, I know that. Yeah, so it's 12. So I've been making the cookies like 1.5 inches. I think that's sufficient enough for what I'm doing with them. Some people may say, you need to go 2 inch, and I may make a couple of them 2 inch, like somewhere around there. Be like 1 7/8 once you the curve for the blade comes out of it. So let's get to milling. Man, we always got to choke it. Some of these you got to choke every single time. Let it warm up for a second. Turn a little water on. right, now we got some nice little cookies. I think that's a nice thickness right there. So let's just take a peek at them. That's gonna be, see, I was hoping that little knot area would give me like a little feature over here, and it did. So my guess was good. And that could be filled in with epoxy, but yeah. So the bark will probably come right off of them. It peels off pretty good when these trees are semi-wet. Like this tree we just took down. So it's just, you know, the bark, I could take a chisel, it'll come right off. I don't want to leave that on there. That's where the bugs hang out. We don't want to leave that there. So yeah, this one's a little thicker. Sometimes if I got to get down thicker, what I'll do is I'll put one of these under there and then clamp that down. That raises it up. So, yep, good stuff. Now let's get... Might even see a deer or two. Let's trim up a few of these beech nut trees here. That's a good test for it, 'cause those are pretty tough. So let's get, it's a little small 6-inch blade. It's nothing big. You know, this isn't to replace the gas unit we have. This is just to work alongside with it. So let's get up in here, up in the tree, see how it does. It's really pretty powerful. You got to kind of really hold on to it. So it looks like it's timing out the battery. The blade is so sharp it just wants to go to town. Well, that thing really eats in there. Now you got to kind of hold it off and let it. It's almost like too sharp. Now that's kind of a little disappointing. That's just like, it's so aggressive that it is trying to eat in there too fast. And then it loses power. See how it loses power? I actually have to. That's not a good, that's not good, guys. If it's gonna lose power like that, I mean, the small branches it seems to do fine. Yeah, see when it really starts to grab in it, like, the blade's so nice and sharp that it almost doesn't have. That's kind of a pain, guys. You know, you're learning along with me. We're doing it all at the same time. And that is the issue with the battery stuff, is it'll overheat, or like the pressure on it. See how, look at that, I'm holding my finger on the trigger and it's, you gotta let off, start in again. This isn't a good sign. This thing may be going back. Because if I can't come out here and trim with it, you know what I mean? And get in there eating stuff, that's just not good. Let's take this off and see if for some reason, I said we're doing beech nuts, so stuff's a little tight, a little hard on it. Let's see if there's some kind of issue with the battery, you know, the long pole, the connections losing power. Yeah, look at that. So what it seems like to me, you see it just now cut it with no problem. It almost seems like, see, look at that. It's, that's what the only thing I was worried about with this unit was having the battery so far down on the pole. Are you losing connectivity or power? Look at that. It stays running like this. Well, did I just eat? No. Up. Came off the battery. So see, it's got plenty of power if you hand hold it, but if you have it on the pole, I'm wondering if the battery, because this came out, I wonder if the battery's coming loose in it. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, this is the first use for me as well. First time you're seeing it. Let's make sure she's really locked in there good. Let's Here, I really slapped it in there. And let's see. That must have been what it was. No, that's pretty big branch right there. It ain't got no power. So you don't, it wouldn't be any good to have this thing. Yeah, see, it's just, what it sounds like to me is with all the wiring in here, it's losing its power, and this is how you oil it. I primed it, and I don't know whether you have to do that every so often, or if it's once it's primed. Seems like it's running a little better. I don't know. That's kind of a bummer. Maybe I just, it did better that time. Maybe it just got a little dry. And I let it get, you know, a little bit dry in there. Pump some oil in there. It's a new tool, so that might be part of the issue too. Oh yeah, now it's doing better. Yep. Hey, you know, it's a learning curve. We're both learning here at the same time. Oh yeah, that's what it was. I just need to get a little more slippery stuff in there. Yep. All right, well, let's go down to another part of the trail and play around with it a little bit more and see how it does. So, I don't know if you saw my other video, but let me show you real quick. Take you off the helmet, off the head cam. I got the new shirts in. You guys may have seen them or not. Pretty nice shirts. We have them available. If you didn't see the shorter, if it hadn't come out yet, I might not have posted it by this time I have the video come out. Look me up, because I don't really have an online store, so to say, but you can use the email. You can pay me through Venmo, Zelle, or Square. So, and then it takes about 2 weeks right now. I have a limited amount of long sleeve and short sleeve made. Already put in a second order, because the day I bought them actually and got them, was meeting with the guy, people saw them and bought a bunch from me. So they're really nice shirts. They're pre-stretched, they're comfort shirts, and I think the logo and all the design work came out super nice on the shirt. So yeah, so let's get back to the task at hand, printing, using these new tools, and let's see how they do. All right, let's try it out here on this poplar tree. I have to reach up a little ways to get some of the branches. The handle, you got to push. You got to push in on this little trigger piece, and it's a little funny to push in. Let's come having a little weird time with that. Not bad. I guess that's probably about 8 foot. Now let's go ahead and extend it up out the rest of the way. It's spring loaded, so it's like and I'm a little bit of wimpy arm, but it's supposed to go up with your body height about 14 feet. So So I think when it stops, kind of push that 3 times. You can almost hear the sound of it, that it's kind of binding up a little bit. So we'll oil it a couple times. Yeah. It lets you know when it stops cutting as well that it needs a little oil on it. Oh, you can pull the trigger up here. Is too. You don't have to pull the trigger back here. So if like you're gonna oil it and you just want to reach up and run the motor while it's oiling, you know, while you're oiling it is the best. So you can still, so if you have the pole like this, you can grip it down there, or you can grab it and go short. The more I'm using it, and I learn how to use it a little better, the more I'm liking it. It didn't have any problem cutting through. That's probably about a 2-inch little tree. So happy with that. This tree's all broke off up at the top. I was just trimming some of the branches. We're actually going to cut it down because it's growing off of a stump, and we just don't want to have stuff like that growing out here. It's using up the nutrients. So we will take the 20 volt or 60 volt 20-inch Dewalt saw and cut the tree down and cut it up. So it's growing off a stump where it was logged years ago. It's just coming up the side. Top's all broke. That's never going to be a quality tree. Cut it down. Let the light get down to other trees that are growing that are in better shape. Bit of a bind. All right, this is what this thing is good for. The small stuff like this. We'll just let that sit there. I drive back along and get that stuff for firewood. When firewood season comes, swing you around here. But yeah, the more I use this saw, the more I like it. I like being able to turn it, use it. I get done, I want to throw the branches aside, not having to pull on a cord. And just for cleaning up along trails, these battery tools, to me, are awesome. So. Get the rest of this cut up. Sometimes I just like the peace and quiet and not having to hear, you know, a chainsaw run. I can stop Even like right now when I'm just cleaning it up, it's just nice to me. Oh, I knocked the safety off. There's a little ditch there, so I'll throw all the debris down the ditch, help with runoff. So anytime I have an opportunity to do that, when I cut something up, I'll throw it in a ditch. So it helps to slow the runoff down, because these big storms here, once it gets through the top layer, it can gouge out a rut pretty fast. And it's always fighting that around the property. Always having to fight that. Yes, sir. Whoops. One more branch. Whew. Yep, I think I knocked the safety off. It's good to push that. Working pretty good. I'm happy with it so far. Now that I figured the oiling kind of regimen out. And I like the fact that I can telescope it in and out. And then if I have shorter ones, I can just take this off and walk around and nip the branches. So that's kind of why I got this. This isn't for big jobs. This isn't to replace our gas pole saw. But coming down trails like this, not having to crank up a saw, just walk along, trim some, clean it up, and then go back, you know, about your business. So it's just nice to me not to hear the gas motors running. So let's go down a little further, and we'll just keep clearing some trails. Not too bad. No spider webs, no. Every once in a while, these get hung up in there. That's good. That needs oil. It's finicky, I'll tell you that. Oh, I'm out of oil. It doesn't have a very big oil reservoir. Yep. Doesn't have a very big oil reservoir on it. So I ran out of oil. Yeah. And it seems to be getting stuck in here because it's not RPM, turning a lot of RPMs. it tends to want to pull stuff up in here. And it gets wound up a little bit. But you know, like I said, I'm not trying to replace the gas pulsar, which would probably be way faster. But I'm just trying to casually go out here, fairly quiet, and enjoy my day and just cut up a few, clean the trails up. So, yeah, we'll have to drive down there and usually we'll just go ahead and finish up with the chainsaw. So you guys can form your own opinions on these tools that I share. I'll have my opinion, you'll have your opinion, and that's how it'll be, I guess. So I got a slight slope here, so I just try to bring you guys along for the whole ride, for the whole experience. So I don't like going too fast forward over stuff. To me, it just seems like you miss so much stuff. And I just spent all that time filming it to skip a bunch of stuff. The way I look at it, if you hold your cursor on the video, it'll go 2 times. If you want it to go faster, you can do that. So, or you can skip segments. It's still connected. I'm not a big fan of a lot of fast forwarding and double time, because some people like to hear the equipment and get an idea on run time and stuff like that, you know. And if I'm fast forwarding all the time, then you guys miss out on a lot of the kind of the reality of it, how much time it takes and what you can do. So I'm not a big fan of time lapse, even though I do it. You guys know how to skip through the video, so if you want to skip to the next section, you're welcome to do it. Let's get that out of the way. Sometimes I'll come back with the tractor, just buck it, shove it in a little further out of the trail. We're not trying to drive vehicles down here, usually just the SUV or the tractor. Just got to get along here to clean the trails and walk and go hunting. There's certain areas that always seem to grow up more than others. I'm not a big fan of all these gum trees. They don't really produce anything of any value. So a lot of times I'll just start cutting them down when they're saplings and let other stuff grow up. These vines, oh, there goes the chain. There goes the chain. So let's put that back on there. I'm not sure whether this thing is loosening up or what's happening here. It's all bound up now. I hate when it does that, because you know the chain's hitting metal and stuff like that. You know, you're like, you hate to hear it. So let's go back to the tractor here, set this on the bucket, and let's see what it takes to get the chain back on. So like I said, this is all, I haven't like pre-rehearsed this. I haven't pre-worked with this equipment. I'm taking it out and using it fairly new. So you guys get the full experience, good, bad, or indifferent. you just have a better idea of issues or problems that may come up. So I don't like to hide them, because we're going to be doing random stuff, but we're going to be doing tool time with Chris the wood guy. And of course that's me. So yeah, see, look at that, it gets jammed down in there like that, and nicks the blade. I hate that, but it looks like, I mean, I got it back on the bar, it almost fit back on there, so that's not really right. So did it come on? These are nice and tight. So like I said, it's new, you know, you guys know chains stretch as you use them. But let's try to figure out what happened, because I just tightened it and it was fairly tight. I mean, it shouldn't have, with what little bit of cutting I did, it shouldn't have gotten that loose that fast. But let's see if I gunked it up or something inside here. It's not a whole lot of stuff in there, but that practically almost goes back on. So how did it get with the chain pretty tight? It somehow, oh, it's jumped off the sprocket back here. So what happened is, you might not have seen it in the video, is that gum log, this is kind of a pain if it gets behind there. Oh my goodness. It's actually got enough room to go behind the sprocket, which that's not very good, because well, that could hurt the chain a lot, and it has. I can feel it's not bending as good. So that's not a good thing. We'll see how she acts once I put it back together. I'm just curious, I want to see how tight the chain is. Does it seem like it just came off way too easy? Yeah, it loosened up quite a bit because I didn't adjust the adjuster. We'll do that if we put the cover back on. Like I said, you guys have seen a few videos. I've kind of used it to cut some logs here and there and some bigger stuff. Anytime you're cutting a little brush like this and it's kicking around and jerking the saw, you run a risk of pieces going up in there. And if your chain gets a little loose, it gets between the chain and the bar and it kicks it off the bar, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what happened down there. A little gum tree, a sapling I was cutting, just kind of, you want about a 1/4 inch there. That's a little much. About a 1/4 inch pull down, somewhere around there. You don't want to run it too tight. That wears your sprocket and your bar out unnecessarily. Want to make sure it's got plenty of oil, which I do need to check the bar oil. I filled it up before we came out. But like I said, part of my use is testing it, is see bar oil to battery ratio, how well this thing cuts and holds up in different circumstances. That's why I do this, and I bring you guys along, because I want you to kind of see. So let's see what the battery's still staying full charge. So right here's the oil level. Let's get the saw kind of level. Yep, it's only used maybe a 1/4 of the oil, so we're good. Just breaking the bar in and chain in. So kicks that off really nice, like it's supposed to. And it's an automatic oil chain oiler on this one. This one is not. This one you gotta stop every once in a while. I think I've had to go pump it. So this is, like I said, just a handy little tool to have around a garden or something. It's not something you're going to go out and do a lot of professional work with it. At least I don't think you're going to do a lot. It seems to me like it goes through oil pretty fast. So but it is handy. I said you can take this off, you know, like I could have an extra battery like I do with me now. I got 2 extra batteries. I could leave that one on there, pop this one on, make sure she's on there good, use the belly. It almost seems like, yeah, you got to kind of smack it on there. Nope, it's not. There it goes. There we go. Oh no, look at that. Look at that. That is, it's coming off without the latch. Like I said, I'm learning this stuff too. We're both experiencing this at the same time. Nope. It's just not latching. It's not latching on there. And if it doesn't latch on there, that's why I'm losing some of the signal, the power. But let me check something. Okay. This is an aftermarket Dewalt battery, or aftermarket battery. It's supposed to fit Dewalt. This is an actual Dewalt battery. So let's see if the, yeah, look at that. So the issue, really, when it comes down to it, is the batteries. You saw it getting weak in a couple spots and like I was losing connectivity. It's actually the battery. The DeWalt batteries lock on really good. These aftermarket batteries right here, this little latch for some reason is not latching. So there could be a spacing difference in here. So I'm going to contact the manufacturer here, Simply Plus, and have a little conversation with them about that, because they seem to lock onto my DeWalt tools fine. I had them on my grinder and I had it on the drills, and it locked on there fine. So there's a slight something that's not quite right. So like I said, we take these tools out and I break them in with you guys straight out the box. We take them and we use them. You see the frustrations or problems that I have with them, or work through situations, a learning curve for me, learning curve for you. That's why I'm doing this. This is why I do the channel. So I think what I'm going to do on Saturdays, I'll have tool time with the wood guy. So it'll be tools related to doing woodwork, whether it be cutting, trimming trees, or whether it be in the shop or whatever. It could be all kinds of stuff. So I think I'm going to start doing that. It seems like some of my other creators that do other stuff are in that area of doing tools y'all enjoy. So you have to let me know if you enjoy it. And as I get tools or I use stuff, I'll bring you along, and we'll take them right out of the box and go use them. And if they have problems, they have problems. I'm not hiding anything. I'm being honest as I can. Like we just discovered the issue with that battery. But look, let's look at this. Look at that. See, this is the handle part as well. So let me get the battery back up. Let me see. Like, smack it really hard. Nope. So it appears. Nope. So it's the batteries. Yep. It let's check one more thing. I got the DeWalt here on this end. Let's try it on here too. Because I'm like you, if you have a problem, you want to kind of go through the whole thing. Yeah. So it works fine with DeWalt batteries. Aftermarket batteries, apparently, like I said, there's some kind of, the latch is not catching. So either the space from where the shoulder is to here is not exactly the same. I'll have to kind of get my extra binoculars on to kind of latch it a couple times, hold it up to, like we get the DeWalt, let's get the DeWalt battery off of here. And let's see if we can see. We'll hold them up here side by side. It's probably going to be hard to tell. I could take my little mic tool and tell. Now I can tell immediately, I don't know if you guys can or not, the distance from here to there, this is a little crisper, this is a little fatter back here, and it looks like this is a little fat. So it's just barely, like, I could probably take a grinder and grind a little flat spot right there because it's so close to catching. I don't want to modify them. I'm actually going to contact the company because I paid pretty decent price for them. I'd rather send these back and just spend the extra money and get one more DeWalt. I got a 2-pack and they're only 9H8AH. But so I'll contact the company. That's Simply Plus battery. So yep, I'll have a conversation. I'll send them a message and see what they say or what they think about it. Let them know about it. You know, they should. You think they test their products. And I'm going to go back to the shop and hook those on a couple other tools and see if they latch on the other tools, because at this point this is the issue it's not latching to. I think I've even had it in here. I've even had them in here and run them in here. Yeah, see, they latch in here. So it would lead me to believe that it's the tolerances on this that's more picky. So if you get this and you want to save money and get those batteries, I wouldn't, because they keep backing off, they're not latching. So if you got Dewalt batteries, you'll be fine. But that's part of us learning together, using the product and finding out any flaws or problems in them that may occur. But so far, in all honesty, my other Dewalt, the one that has a 16-inch bar, I absolutely loved it. And I'm like, well, let's move up to a 20 so I don't have to bend over as far to trim branches and trim, branches off up high and down low. It wasn't to replace the gas saw, because if I got a whole lot of work to do, I'll get the gas saw out. So, but so far my experiences with this, I have a 12 HA, so that's an amp hour, and this 20-inch tends to burn through that pretty quick. It would be better with like a 15, even if they made a 20 AH battery, that would probably be more suitable for this, or a couple batteries. The Dewalt here, this is a 9 amp hour, and I have a 12 amp hour right here. If you put that in the 16-inch version of this exact same saw, it lasts a long time, a lot longer. It's not turning as much bar, there's not as much resistance, and all that little bit makes a difference on the time you can run it. So like I said, I think I saw in the reviews people were saying to get a 15 amp hour, but unfortunately they didn't have any available. So I've got it on my wish list. It'll pop up when it's available, and I'll buy one, and then we'll try it with the 15 amp hour, and we'll see kind of how that, how it goes with that one. So yeah, we did a little bit of tree trimming. I know it's not a lot, but like I said, I don't like to fast forward to it through all this, because you guys don't get a good sense of what's going on. The sound of the tool, the time it takes to cut, the time it takes to do a project. I just don't like zapping through it, because you don't get a real reality of the truth. You know what I'm saying, guys? So I got a little bit more trimming here to do, and like you saw me cutting them gum trees, I'll go through here and just cut these little gum saplings down. I'll take like a 1/4 acre and holly trees, and I'll just go through and cut them all down and let the poplars and any other quality trees grow up through the forest. So it's a lot of work, and owning a piece of property can be tasking if you really want to invest in it, and you're trying to log it every so often. You want wood that's quality, and wood that is trees and lumber that is valuable. And gum trees, there's a small market for it, but not a big one. So we prefer to avoid the gum trees if we can, if we're in an area where cherries, poplars, hickory, or especially walnut are growing. We want to give them all the love and all the nutrients, and not have these little sucker trees sucking all the nutrients up. So okay, so recap, we went and used the Dewalt 60 volt 20-inch bar flex volt brushless chainsaw today, and then I will leave a link to this one and this one here, and I will leave the link to this one. I don't remember the exact name of it. It doesn't even have it on here, but they have a whole bunch of these tools, so I'll leave a link to it. Christmas time is coming, so think about your pops and your uncles and your aunts and all your family members who may have a yard or property. For most people, around the yard are just basic stuff. This thing is going to work great It has the ability every once in a while to reach up and cut a branch that's higher, and I think it's great. It's telescoping, so you don't have to add another pole in with it to make it longer like the Dewalt one. So I would invest in some, at least this is a 12. I would get a 12 amp hour, a couple of those. Those are almost $200, so by the time you buy two of those, you need to kind of save a little money on the tool. So this wasn't but a little over $120, $115, something like that. So for the money, I think it's well worth it. You'll be very pleased with it. So my name is Chris Shea, and I'm the Wood Guy. I appreciate you watching, and we will do more tool reviews in the future to come.